When a routine traffic stop becomes a career-defining moment, an officer's worst assumptions collide with a truth he never imagined. Because the man he pulled over, he's the one who holds his future in his hands. The sun was dropping over Sacramento, turning the glass towers copper. Marcus Hale exhaled the day out of his lungs as his sedan hummed along J Street, radio low, tie loosened, mind shifting toward home. A yellow light blinked to red. He eased to a stop. That's when the cruiser slid up behind him, lights exploding in the mirror. The siren popped once, sharp, territorial. Marcus pulled over, rolled down his window, and rested both hands on the wheel. Officer Brett Lawson, mid-30s, buzzed hair, the kind of swagger that grows from never being told no. Strode up, badge catching the last of the sun. License and registration, Lawson said, clipped. Marcus handed them over. Calm, deliberate. You know why I stopped you? Lawson asked. I'm not sure, officer. You rolled that light. A beat of hesitation. And you're not from this part of town, are you? My address is on the license. I moved a few months ago. Lawson's eyes stayed on Marcus longer than on the card. Something shifted, like a decision had just been made. Step out of the vehicle. Marcus's fingers tightened once, then released. Is there a specific reason, officer? I said step out. Don't make this harder. He stepped out. Suit, polished shoes. The look of someone who knows exactly where every second of his day went. None of it mattered. Lawson gestured. Hands on the hood. Marcus complied. The pat-down was rough, more performance than policy. Nothing. Of course nothing. You're clean, Lawson muttered, irritated that the universe hadn't produced a weapon to justify his suspicion. Marcus turned to face him, voice low. What exactly are you looking for? Incidents in the area, Lawson said. Can't be too careful. Incidents involving men in suits driving home from work? Or is this about something else? Something flickered behind Lawson's eyes. Watch your tone. I'm only asking for clarity. Marcus's calm wasn't passive. It was a pressure point. Lawson stepped closer, chest out. You seem awfully confident, like you know how this goes. You a lawyer or something? Or something. The air thinned. Lawson's jaw worked. People like you always think. He stopped himself, the rest of the sentence hanging in the heat like smoke. People like me, Marcus repeated softly. It wasn't a question. It was a mirror. Silence scraped between them. Cars hissed past. The light changed from red to green to red again. I think, Marcus said. We left traffic violation 5 minutes ago. Lawson's hand hovered near his holster, habit, not necessity. His voice tried to find its footing. I'm not done here. Then you should know who you're speaking to. Lawson scoffed, but the sound was hollow. I don't care who. Marcus moved slowly, deliberately, producing a leather badge wallet. Don't reach for anything, Lawson snapped, pulse suddenly loud in his own ears. My badge, Marcus said, voice level. He opened the wallet. The light caught the crest. Marcus Hale, he said evenly. Director of Internal Affairs, Sacramento Division. Lawson blinked, then blinked again, as if that might change the engraving. Color drained. His fingers slid off the holster like it burned. Internal Affairs, he repeated, the word turning to gravel in his mouth. My job, Marcus said, is making sure the people wearing that badge understand what it stands for. Integrity, fairness, accountability. Lawson took a half step back he didn't mean to take. He looked smaller without moving at all. The most troubling part isn't the profiling, Marcus continued, or the escalation. It's that you did all of it without realizing you were talking to someone who knows the rules better than you, because you assumed I didn't deserve your respect. Lawson's throat clicked. No words came out. Here's what happens next, Marcus said. You're going to return my documents. You're going to think very carefully about your next sentence. And then you're going to hear from me again formally. Hands trembling, Lawson fumbled out the license and registration. Marcus slid them away, opened his car door, then paused. The badge doesn't make you better than anyone, he said without raising his voice. It makes you accountable to everyone. He drove off. Lawson stayed rooted on the asphalt, watching his reflection flicker in the cruiser's fender like a future dissolving. The following morning, sunlight striped the blinds in Marcus's office at Internal Affairs. On his desk sat a folder, Officer Brett Lawson. Complaints. Unprofessional conduct. Questionable stop. Patterns that had been filed quietly, smoothed over, forgotten. Lila, his assistant, knocked and slipped in with a stack of reports. Monthly misconduct summary. And Chief Moreland wants to confirm the department review next week. Move it up, Marcus said. And add one more item, Lawson. He could have written the stop-off as a bad night. He wouldn't. One Lawson is never one Lawson. Culture grows in the dark. That afternoon, across from Chief Arya Moreland, steady eyes, salt and pepper resolve, Marcus laid out the stop. Not as a story. As evidence. We've handled Lawson internally before, the chief said, pinching the bridge of her nose. That's the problem, Marcus replied. Quiet won't fix rot. We need loud, department-wide review, training, protocols, supervision, community input, and real consequences. You'll ruffle feathers, the chief warned. Then they needed ruffling. What followed was movement, interviews, bodycam audits, community forums where citizens finally said what they'd been holding between their teeth for years. A pattern emerged, and once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. Lawson sat at an internal hearing, rigid in a chair that suddenly felt too big. Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. The record spoke. So did the silence between the lines. Suspension, mandatory retraining, supervisory review. But the real sentence was larger than one man, a blueprint for change. Months later, in a crowded community hall, Marcus faced officers, officials, and neighbors. Some skeptical, some hopeful, all listening. Justice isn't only about catching criminals, he said. It's about the character of the people sworn to protect us. It's about how you treat the person who can't do anything for you, and the person who could end your career. Same respect, same rights. Applause surged, not triumphant so much as relieved, like a city letting out a breath it didn't know it was holding. Afterward, as people filtered out, Marcus stepped into the evening air. The sky was the same color it had been the night Lawson flipped on those lights, burnished gold over a city still learning itself. Change wouldn't come in a headline. It would come in 1,000 small choices made when no one is watching. Behind him, the hall door swung shut. Ahead, the streetlights flickered on, one by one, like a promise.